Welcome back to the third installation of the CSOD Father's Day super special here. This will be the trifecta of today's video collection. In this one, I'm going to be showing you how to use Mesh Mixer and D3 Mesh to add ortho attachments to your model. So if you're going to be 3D printing these models to do like vacuform or thermoform aligners in-house, then you'd want to add your attachments as needed here, and then print these out, base, and then print, and then do your standard workflow from there. But the typical ortho software out there is usually pretty expensive. I really haven't checked out the Blue Sky Bio ortho module yet. Usually their stuff is very reasonable, very fair, and I know Baron Gretter's on top of that, and he's always doing really awesome stuff. So probably check that out before you get too far into this. But this is just kind of like the beginning, you know. It's like these are the first stages to get orthodontics moving in Mesh Mixer. So the first step is to kind of get the attachments made, and then put them into Mesh Mixer to use as different parts from part library, and then being able to drag and drop them onto your model. So without further ado, let's just get going. I'm not even sure if I have a Mesh Mixer or a D3 Mesh open. Let's do that first. And to be totally honest, I actually don't even need D3 Mesh open to do this part, because it is now these ortho attachments are all part of D3 Mesh when you download and install it. These should be readily available in your part library. So there's two ways to get to it at the moment. The first one is if you just come up to the part library up here, expand that. Tooth libraries is not implemented yet. That's an easy thing to do, and I'll probably do that the next update. 3D printing, not yet. Model attachments, yes. Tray handles, yes. And text labels, yes. Actually, I'm not sure about model attachments. I could have just said that thinking it was ortho attachments. Let's try that. Let's click on model attachments. And no, sorry, my bad. That does not get you to the ortho attachments. Unlike tray handle or text label, it gets you right there. And I should, and I guess there you go. I will add ortho attachments to this as well at the next update. But if you wanted to, you could just always come up to Mesh Mix right here, click on this, see your different categories. It usually is on primitives. Come up here and you go to ortho attachments, and then you can see you got all your different ortho attachments. And these aren't all of them. It's just a kind of like a sampling. Again, I don't really do, I definitely don't treatment plan my own clear aligner therapy or Invisalign cases. So a lot of this stuff is just me kind of looking at the literature, figuring out what the dimensions are for these attachments, how they typically work, and then just going from there, you know, and just letting the people that are more advanced at this kind of use it as they would like. So we have them up here, and like I said, you can get there from going to Mesh Mix and then clicking on ortho attachments. But let's get it back to primitives, just show you the other way. So the other way, and probably well, I don't know, I was going to say maybe the more standard way of doing it, but at least right now, this is the more standard way of doing it. You come down to Virtual Vacuum Former again. We're going to hit go. Kind of exploring some of these other buttons here. This button, Attach Items to Model. this button right here will bring you to that menu. There you go. You have your attachments here. And let's just start going through how to do this for right now. And this is extremely beta, or maybe even alpha. You know, I mean, it's just experimental. Again, very big wording here. I would say this is definitely not for clinical use at this point, unless you are, you know, a very knowledgeable in 3D CAD and orthodontics, and if you have that cross section here, God bless you, and you can make some really cool stuff happen. But for now, it's more of just a proof of concept. So I have a selection of these different buttons here, and the way I designed these was from this thing, which is an article from angle.org. I got a feeling if you're in orthodontics at all, this is a very, very common research article to you, or it's very familiar. It's called Effects of Variable Attachment Shapes and Aligner Material on Aligner Retention. And I just went to the spot right here where it shows you the kind of the, I guess, the conventional attachments and how they work. I think this is quite a while ago, and I know there's things called like optimized attachments with Invisalign and things like that. But I think even with the standard, this set right here, I think you can get away with doing some of the optimized attachments and things like that, and I'll show you how in just a minute. So I designed it from this, literally just took an oval, sliced it in half, made it 3 by 2 by 1, and also by 0.75, same thing with these other ones. The reason I say I only have a sampling of these, not every single one, is because I don't know why. Believe it or not, it's really hard to design your own objects from scratch. It's not hard to do that, but then make them in such a way so they'll be compatible with the mesh mix add part algorithm that it uses. And so I'm kind of at its mercy there. I don't really have any control of that. So for the vast majority of these, I got them to work, but there's a few still that I need to go through and revise and make them work a little bit better. But this is where I got my info from. And you'll see here in just a second, the dimensions I put in when I made these don't really matter because when you add them to the model, at least at this point, I don't have it to where it will stay the exact dimension of the original part. So if this was 3 by 2 by 1, or whatever the case is, when I drag it onto here, it's not even close to that. I think if you adjust the size parameter to a certain value, I think you can get it down to the exact dimension that you wanted it to be. So I'll show you. So we'll go with first an ovoid one here. I'm just going to drag and drop it onto the model. It looks like it didn't do anything, but I think it's just because it's too big. I'm going to change the size parameter to 0, 2. And then I will also change this to, I don't know how you want to say that, but rotation, inversion, coordinates. I don't know. The second one. So you come up here and you can say, oh yeah, there it is. It's working. That's definitely too small though. So now at this point, I'm just going to use this little handle and kind of make it to the approximate size. And there's no real, unfortunately at this point, like I said, there's no real way to know exactly how big that is. Like 0.04, that has to be a factor, like a divisible factor of what the original dimensions were. So I just need to figure out what this factor is, and then I'll just make that the value every time. So like if I do 0.1, that still looks really big. If it truly is a 3 by 2 by 1, so then I go to maybe 0.75. Oops. 075. Maybe a little, I don't know, it still looks really big. 05. It's the most likely so far. I'm still not even 100% sure that's the exact dimensions there of 3 by 2 by 1, but that looks approximate. So then we can take this and we can move it wherever you'd like on the tooth. You can rotate it. And for now, we'll keep it at that. There's some more things that you can do, but we're just gonna kind of jump through this real quick. There's the first attachment. I don't have to click that button. I could just obviously come back up to Mesh Mix and it would be right there, but just again for kind of reiteration, let's do a horizontal one. Zero, 5, wrote invert coordinate, and there we go. We'll accept that. It's just as easy as that. And you keep on going around the model. Let's do... Okay, the different kinds I have here are... I guess I called it Ovoid in the title. Let me go back here, but I think it's called Ellipsoid. Yeah, it is. Shoot. Well, there you go. My bad. It's definitely called Ellipsoid. But for whatever reason, I chose Ovoid for the title. Either way, same thing. You know what I'm getting at. Let's go to a I kind of forgot what I was describing here. So it's, forget the ovoid ellipsoid part. There are those types of attachments. And then you have the rectangular, and these ones come in the flavors of standard, which means there's no bevel. Beyond that, the standard ones can be either sharp or rounded, so they have like a sharp or rounded edge to it. Then you can go down and you can kind of see on these other ones, there is an actual bevel here. And this one in particular that I'm looking at right here is not only beveled, but it's rounded as well. There are beveled sharp as well. So there's a lot of different varieties. There's horizontal, there's vertical, different bevels towards different portions of the model, whether it's gingivally or incisively or mesially or distally. So let's do this looks like a vertical attachment here. And 0, 5. Second one. And you can drag it to wherever you'd like. Let's actually take a good look at this one. So this one is a standard attachment. There's no bevel to it. But it does converge. So that's how you'll know which direction it's going, is because each one of these does have a slight convergence to it. Okay, you can kind of see that here as it kind of goes in towards, as it goes up towards the gingiva. It kind of converges in, but just slightly. So there's that. Let's do a beveled one. Those are horizontal ones because they're angled, or at least in the picture, they're angled this way. Any of the horizontal ones, I have them that way, and any of the vertical ones, I have them that way. So let's do 2 for 1, and let's do a beveled and horizontal. Zero, 5, wrote, invert coordinate, optimize. There you go. And again, it just kind of adapts to whatever surface of the tooth that you need, which truly is amazing. I mean, it's almost like this mesh mixer was meant for dentistry. And I can change the size here, I can do whatever I'd like, but that's fine, we get the picture. Rounded, not sharp, and beveled. There's that. And getting a bit more advanced as we go. I'll show you one more thing here. Let's do a vertical, and we'll do sharp. See if I can find one. Oh, there you go. One of these three. Let's do this one. Now, I'm going to do one thing different. I'm going to do 0.5. That's the same. But instead of changing this to the second one, I'm going to keep it at coils. And the reason I'm doing that... Oh, this isn't beveled. Cancel. We want a beveled one. Is that the same one I just did? I think it is. Certainly not beveled. Cancel. Here we go. These are the beveled ones. And again, we're going to go 0.5, but we're going to keep it on coils. There you go. That's the sharp, vertical, beveled. Looks good. Okay, but watch this. And it only works if you're doing coils and not the other one. I'm going to come in, kind of zoom in a little bit more on this. You see the way it looks now. Now, if I go ahead and click on this guy, watch this. I can take this arrow, and then I can rotate the attachment around. I kind of see on some of those, or at least in all the pictures and everything, and all the videos that I've been watching, you definitely need to have the ability to get this as flush as you can sometimes. If you know, well, sometimes it's indicated to do that apparently. So if I go like that and I can get it nice and flush right at the tooth, bam, there you go. Even cooler is, and I can do that for pretty much anything, right? I can move it all around. But check this out. Not only that, but this little guy, this little triangle, watch this. Are you kidding me? We're twisting this thing. I don't even know what implications that has for orthodontic movement, but that's got to be, I mean, that's got to be something. That's pretty cool. And then you can kind of see what angle that you're twisting it. I mean, that's really cool. I don't know what that means for a liner therapy, but that's pretty neat that you can even do that. Because there's no way in God's green earth you're gonna make that shape organically. Perfectly fit to the tooth surface. So I'm gonna, let's see. I'm just gonna not make it super crazy. Well, that's pretty super crazy, but I'm gonna keep it that way. And I'm gonna hit accept. No holes. Unbelievable. That's amazing. Look at that attachment. What is that? And then, I guess, if you really wanted to, you could kind of select these surfaces. I'm going to expand it by like one ring, optimize, smooth the border of that selection. I'm going to remesh, relative, smooth. That looks a little bit less insane. That's all there is to it, though. Okay, so there you go. I mean, we are literally talking all types of attachments, all angles, all orientations, as you would like on each one of these teeth here. And then once you've done this, this is where D3 mesh comes into play. Let's say we want to, okay, so we've added our attachments. Now onto the aligner designer, or the virtual vacuum former. It will now make that that same shell that we did on that first video, the aligner designer video. It's basically, we're repeating the same exact steps, except now we have our attachments on there. And when we create our aligner or our Essex style appliance, it will have all of these things built into it. And I don't think I'm going to go through that part because we've already done it, and this video is mainly just to show you that we have attachments, and they're working pretty good, and there's a lot of really cool things that you can do with them, as far as changing the geometry and manipulating them and optimizing them, whatever that means. I see that term thrown around. Yeah, ortho heads, have at this. Let me know what you come up with. Let me know what you would prefer. Let me know if you have any attachments that you want included in this library, and I'll try my best to get them added. That's that. Let me kind of show you. I have one model in the scene here that has all the attachments, so I'll hide the one I'm working on. Let's kind of do its thing real quick. Come on. Okay. You know what? Screw it. We're already this far. So, no impression gap, thickness, 0. What did we do? 6 last time? Or 7? Let's do 7. Enable. Let's draw that. Oh, this is funky. This may not even work because of these embrasure. I'll forget it. I'm already halfway there. Let's just do it. And I have not tried this on this model, so we may get I mean, this is a horrible model to try this on. But let's just quickly go through it and see what happens. Wow. Oops. Definitely not getting that that far in, or approximately here. So if I bring this line in, this margin in a little too far, you'll get intersecting surfaces when you go through the next steps. You can even see the line right there on the other side. Try to avoid that. And this is, I mean, yeah, again, this is a weird model. I mean, there's bridges, there's pontics, there's black triangles. This couldn't be a more worse case scenario, but so be it. Okay, so it's selected the opposite of what we want. So we're gonna go invert selection, and we're gonna go next, and we'll see what happens. Actually, I'm certain this isn't gonna work now because I'm looking at those black triangles. That definitely needs to. Well, okay, so this is. Oh gosh. Oh man, I'm getting way too complicated in this. This is not meant for this, but I think there's a fix for it. Okay, stops. We don't need any stops, but perforations. This is where this might come in handy here. I'm just changing the size of my brush. And I think we're going to need to do that. Is that right? I don't want to cut it in half. Oh, no, no, no. And if this doesn't make sense, what I'm doing right now, maybe just rewatch this a couple times, and I think it will start to make sense as to why I need to do this, assuming everything works as expected. You kind of just got to think if you're making a shell of this, if there's these areas here, it's just going to create like holes in the appliance or connections in the appliance that you can't then insert onto the teeth. So all of these areas where there's holes, even that. It's really only if there's communication from the buccal to the lingual. That one, again, there's one. Man, there's a lot. Okay. Oh man. So many more. Screw it. We're gonna call that. Oh. So far already. So far. I can't just start cutting corners now. All right. Not this part, it's just the underside here. Oh man, this video's going south real quick. All right, only a couple more. I have a strong suspicion I screwed a lot of this up. Which is obviously not a great thing. Alright, come on, just work. If after all this it doesn't work, I'm going to be pretty frustrated. That's what I get for going off script, though. Okay, are we close? Oh, looks so sketch. Optimize, it looks a little bit better. Let me grow by one ring, looks even a little bit more better, maybe. Go for it. Next. Please work. What do we do? 0.7. 0.7 millimeter thickness. 0 millimeter impression gap. Doing a little bit of smoothing, a little bit of remeshing. There it is, the 0.7, ensuring the minimal thickness there. Come on. All right, let's see. I mean, this looks good. But let's see how much we ruin that by selecting all those areas for the perforations. Hopefully nothing, but look at the underside. Let's see what it looks like. Ah, close. So what I was trying to avoid was these bridges, like right here, right there, right there, here, all those. So this still isn't like the end of the like end of the world. I can just hit the select button and just kind of select that part and select this part and select this part, that part, And that part. I want to use the sphere brush. Actually selects the underside as well. Ah! Too big. Optimize and erase and fill. That's F. Oops. Not erase and fill. We just want discard. And let's do these one at a time. The reason that one didn't go because I didn't get down underneath it. Okay, that's a little better. And inspector, smooth film. Select all. R, remesh, relative 0%. Preserve group orders. And there we go. That's our hacked out aligner for this particular patient. That was much more difficult than it should have been. If I would have been more careful on drawing my margin, and also if I would have picked a better model for this example, this would have been a much more impactful and powerful video. But either way, that shows you a couple tricks there of how to fix things if you run into issues. But this is essentially the same thing, what we're looking for. These outside margins here, they look pretty bulky and thick. And if I were to continue on doing this, I would just select all those margins and do a quick smooth on it and look better. But the point is that we have our aligner with our attachments built into it. So they should engage on a dentition that has these attachments on it. Not that one. But I was going to show you that other model that I had all the attachments on it. That's this one. And they're all way too big, but it's just for showing purposes. You can kind of see all the different dimensions and how it works. And just how awesome they like wrap around the tooth and just intimately fit to the surface. Those are all the attachments currently. Soon to add quite a bit more, but for now, I just wanted something in there to show that that this can be done, and that's basically it. It's just kind of keep on going from here. So there you have it. Attachments of all sizes, shapes, and dimensions through Mesh Mixer and D3 Mesh. Hopefully this was kind of cool, and yeah, that's basically it. Have a great night for the third time, and I'm pretty sure this is the last one. I have one more thing I maybe want to do, but I think 3 in 1 day is pretty good. So, all right, you guys, take care. Happy Father's Day once again, and see you later. Take care.